You know that list, right? We all have one. That mental list of skills we want to learn, things we want to try. But for so many of us, that's exactly where it stays. Just a list. The desire's there, but that spark, that motivation to actually get started, it just never seems to arrive.
And that, of course, leads to that voice in your head. You know the one, it sounds a little something like, why can't I just do this thing? I know it'll make my life better. Or my personal favorite, oh yeah, I've been meaning to start that for about 3 years now. Well, let's get into it, because the real reason is probably not what you think. All right, first up, let's talk about procrastination. But here's the twist. It's not about being lazy. It's not a character flaw. What if I told you that your brain is hardwired to resist starting new things? That it's actually a biological reaction? So here's the wild science behind it. When you even think about doing something new and challenging, it can create a kind of mental pressure. And that pressure actually triggers the same parts of your brain that light up when you feel physical pain. No joke. So your brain isn't being lazy. It's literally trying to protect you from what it thinks is a painful experience. But, and this is absolutely the most important part, that feeling of dread, that mental ouch, it almost exclusively happens before you start. It's the pain of anticipation, not the pain of participation. We sit around waiting for the right mood to strike, but all we're really doing is stewing in that pre-task anxiety. So what's the solution? Well, it's so simple, it's almost infuriating. Just begin. The very moment you dive in and take that first step, the discomfort just evaporates. You break through that barrier and you're in the learning zone. And you know what? That makes it so much easier to come back tomorrow. The pain was never in the doing. It was only in the delay. Okay, so we get it. Our brain fights the idea of starting. But what about the actual machinery? The hardware itself? Well, here's the good news. Your brain isn't your enemy. It is a world-class learning engine, literally built for this stuff. We just need to learn how to use it. At the very heart of learning are these amazing little connections called synapses. You can think of them as tiny bridges or electrical handshakes between your brain cells. Every single new thing you learn, every skill you practice, builds and strengthens more and more of these connections. You're literally building your knowledge, one connection at a time. So, how much room do we have to work with? What's our storage capacity? Well, it's billions with a B. Your brain has billions of these potential connections. What that means is you will never ever run out of space. There's no memory full error message in your brain. Your capacity to learn is practically infinite. Now, just like any engine, it needs proper maintenance. And the single most critical thing you can do for it is get deep sleep. When you're sleeping, your brain isn't just off. It's working overtime, organizing memories and, get this, literally cleaning out toxins. And if you want to build brand new parts for that engine, physical exercise and social connection are your go-to. Both are proven to help your brain create new neurons. Okay, our brain is ready to learn. The hardware is there. Now let's talk about the software, how our brain actually thinks. It turns out we operate in two completely different modes, and knowing when to use each one is a total game changer for learning anything effectively. So on one side, you've got focused mode. This is your high beam. It's when you're concentrating hard, absorbing new information, and it needs a zero distraction environment to work. But then there's the other side, diffuse mode. This is more like a floodlight. It's your brain's creative, relaxed state where it's free to wander and make connections. The secret is to learn to switch between them. Focus hard to take in the info, then step away, relax, and let your diffuse mode connect all the dots in the background. And this brings us to a really core truth about all of this. Learning is not a passive activity. It's not a spectator sport. You can't just absorb a skill by watching someone else do it. Real, lasting learning is an action. It's something you have to do. Think about it this way. Watching a master painter on YouTube is super inspiring, for sure, but it will never magically transfer their skill into your hands. A huge part of learning is struggling with the little problems that pop up only when you try it yourself. You have to be the one with the brush, trying to figure out, okay, why isn't this paint doing what I want it to do? So what does the real learning process look like? It's basically a 4-step loop. Number 1, you try it yourself. Number 2, you make a mistake. And trust me, you are going to make mistakes. That's guaranteed. Number 3, you study the mistake and figure out what went wrong. And number 4, you repeat. Mistakes aren't failures to be ashamed of. They are literally the signposts that are pointing you in the right direction.
Okay, but what about when a concept is so abstract it feels like trying to grab smoke? Use an analogy, make it real. For instance, the thought of drawing a human eye can be really intimidating. But what if you just think of it as a marble with a little piece of fabric draped over the top and bottom for eyelids? All of a sudden, you have a solid, concrete image to work with. You've made the abstract tangible.
All right, let's bring this all together. We know about the brain's resistance to starting. We know our brain is actually built to learn, and we have the roadmap for how learning works. So how do we bridge that final gap between knowing the stuff and actually doing it? Well, it all comes down to reframing your goal and understanding what true talent really is.
Let's say your big goal is to learn how to make music, but you're starting from absolute zero. That goal feels massive, right? It's like a mountain. And then you look at the first step, maybe just opening the software, and it feels laughably small in comparison. That gap between the tiny first step and the giant end goal, it can be completely paralyzing. So this is where we need to shift our focus. Forget about the mountaintop for a second. Instead, ask yourself this one very simple question. What is the absolute smallest, most manageable step I can possibly take right now? Not later, not when you're feeling motivated. Right this second. Maybe it is just opening the program. Maybe it's just watching a 5-minute tutorial. That's it. Because here's the secret. You don't need skill to begin. You don't need talent to begin. You need one thing and one thing only: initiative. The real talent isn't found in the finished masterpiece. The real talent is in the quiet, simple, unglamorous act of just starting.
So let's stop waiting for motivation or talent to come strike us like lightning. Your real talent, the one you have 100% control over, is your ability to take the initiative.